Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you to the recent subscribers. I actually got two more this week. So now we're up to 109. That's crazy for me. So thank you to all the returning subscribers. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And I guess I'm going to start up by just saying this. If you are new, welcome to the channel. This pretty much is all about Broadway, West End, national tours. Um, I haven't gotten into plays yet, but in the future, I'm thinking about bringing in plays, podcast about plays. But yeah, anything musical theater will be on this channel. Um, so welcome in. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you can to push this channel to help me out a little bit. For today, I thought that we would uh, do a different type of a musical here. I'm gonna warn you, it's gonna be long. I'm gonna try not to bore all of you too much with this. This is gonna be a long podcast. And spoiler alert, um, parental discretion is advised. I have to say that because the material in this next musical is a little raunchy. So I ask you to trade in the comforts of Sesame Street for the hilarious and sometimes raunchy realities of adult life. You probably all know what I'm talking about here with this next musical, but here's your keys. Welcome to Avenue Q. Folks, Avenue Q is a musical comedy with music and lyrics by Robert Lopez and Jeff Marks, with a book by Jeff Whitty. The show's format is a parody of Sesame Street. However, its content involves adult-oriented themes. It has been praised for its approach to themes of racism, homosexuality, and internet pornography. It's important to note that Avenue Q's cast consists of 3 human characters who interact with 11 puppet characters. Puppets are animated and voiced by puppeteers who appear on stage, unconcealed. The puppet and human characters ignore the puppeteers, creating the illusion that the puppets are actually alive. Now, to assist with the illusion, the puppeteers wear plain gray clothing in contrast to the human and puppet characters' colorful costumes. Fun fact, the same puppet may be operated by different puppeteers in different scenes, and the actor voicing the puppet may be at times not the one animating it, as well as one puppeteer sometimes voicing 2 or more puppets simultaneously. It's crazy. The show draws inspiration from and imitates the format of children's educational television show Sesame Street. Jeff Marks, John Tartaglia, Stephanie D'Abruzzo, Jennifer Barnhart, and Rick Lyon were all original and current Sesame Street performers. 3 of the puppet characters are actually direct, recognizable parodies of Sesame Street puppets. And this is where I'm going to go into where they're recognizable. So, roommates Rod and Nikki are a riff on Bert and Ernie. Trekkie Monster bears the distinctive voice and disposition of Cookie Monster. Now, all of the characters, both puppet and human, are actually young adults who face real-world problems with uncertain solutions, as opposed to the simplistic problems and invariably happy resolutions encountered by characters on children's television programming. Much of the show's ironic humor emerges from its contrast with Sesame Street, including the differences between innocent childhood experiences and complex adulthood. The storyline presupposes the existence of monsters and talking animals, and human actors sing, dance, and interact with puppets, both human and non-human, as if they were sentient beings in a light-hearted, quasi-fantasy environment. However, the characters use a considerable amount of profanity, puppet nudity, and sex. So parents, this is not intended for any child under the age of 18, and like I said before, parental discretion is advised. Now, one particular human character is a fictionalized version of the real-life celebrity Gary Coleman, the juvenile actor who played Arnold Jackson in the 1980s American sitcom Different Strokes, and later famously sued his parents and business advisors for stealing his earnings. Well, Coleman is portrayed by a woman in most productions as an adult who happens to be the building superintendent in the rundown Avenue Q neighborhood due to his dire financial situation. The character illustrates one of the most important themes in Avenue Q, that life isn't as easy as we've been led to believe. When Coleman died on May 28th of 2010, casts of both the off-Broadway production in New York City and the second national tour in Dallas dedicated that evening's performances to his memory. Now, ready to meet your Avenue Q neighbors? I'm going to warn you, brace yourself. This character is a fresh-faced kid just out of college and looking for a place to live. Meet Princeton. This next character is a young monster who just happens to be a friendly kindergarten teaching assistant. Meet Kate Monster. Now, every apartment complex is bound to have one of this next character. Basically, a bit of a slacker and a couch potato. Meet Nikki. Unfortunately, this next puppet would probably defy most of Donald Trump's views. A gay Republican investment banker with a secret. Meet Rod. Now, some monsters scare people, some monsters even eat tons of cookies. This next monster, however, scares people for another reason, but does it while beating to internet porn. Move over Cookie Monster and shield yourself from Trekkie Monster. This next puppet is a vixenish vamp with a dangerous edge. No, it's not Megan Fox, but it is the seductive neighborhood whore herself. Meet Lucy, the slut. And if two snuggly, cute-faced teddy bear types are your thing, well, you've been warned, because these bears have only one thing on their minds. Even River City would have more than their share of trouble. Meet the Bad Idea Bears. And of course, no puppet musical would ever be complete without an ancient puppet. It is said that after surveying the guests at this puppet's garden party, she remarked, "My dear, it's as though a flock of peacocks has descended upon my roses." Meet Miss Lavinia Thistletwat. The Avenue Q puppets, which cost up to $10,000 each and require up to 120 hours of hand fabrication per character, were designed and built by original cast member and former Sesame Street puppeteer Rick Lyon. Lyon's company, the Lyon Puppets, built and maintained the puppets used in all North American productions, and several of the international productions, while supervising the construction of those from other productions. Avenue Q has three distinct type of puppets that are used in the show. Princeton and Kate Monster are known as single rod puppets, meaning they consist of a head and a torso with two arms, at least one of which is movable for gestures. They each have one movable arm controlled by one rod, with the other arm posed in a permanent gesture or attached to the puppet's torso. Rod, Lucy, and the Bad Idea Bears are known as double rod puppets, meaning both arms are movable, each controlled by a separate rod. The puppeteer then controls the puppet's head and mouth with his or her dominant hand and holds one or both rods in the other hand. Nikki, Trekkie Monster, and Miss Thistletwat are known as live hand puppets, meaning they actually require two puppeteers, each of whom contributes one hand and arm dressed with a long sleeve and glove matching the puppet's costume, which become the actual arms and hands of the puppet. The speaking puppeteer then controls the puppet's left hand, head, and mouth, while the second silent operator controls the right hand. Now, this is where it gets tricky. During the show, one puppeteer will sometimes exit to take over another puppet, leaving the live hands puppet with a single operator and only one functioning hand. The third kind of puppet used in the show is what's called mechanized and freehand puppets. Mechanized puppets are not only directly controlled by the puppeteer's hand, instead, They are controlled by a concealed trigger that, when pulled, causes the mouth to open. Very similar to kind of like a toy grabber. Freehand puppets do not have rods, mechanisms, or live hands for their arms. While their head controls are the same as a broad puppet, the hands are actually moved by physically picking them up and down. Now, in March of 2003, it was time to see if this Avenue Q was ready to be taken from the page to the stage. And it opened at Off Broadway's Vineyard Theater, which ran for 72 performances and went on to actually win the Lucille Lortel Award for Best Musical and Outstanding Sound Design. Avenue Q was ready for Broadway. In July of 2003, opening at the John Golden Theater, the production had a total run of 2,534 performances and would go on to be nominated for 6 Tony Awards, winning 3, including Best Musical. As of June of 2009, the production has grossed over $117 million and had returned profits of $23.5 million to its investors. After the show closed on Broadway, it reopened off-Broadway at New World Stages in October of 2009, where it played for a decade until its final performance in May of 2019, with many former cast members and the show's creators in attendance. Well, in 2006, the West End wanted a taste of this puppet musical. So, opening at the Noel Coward Theatre, several adaptive changes were made for British audiences, including portrayal of the Gary Coleman character, by now a male actor. The production had a total run of 1,179 performances before transferring in 2009 to the Gielgud Theatre and finally to the Wyndham's Theatre, playing a 5-year run until its closure in October of 2010. Backing up to September 30th of 2004, it was the first day of the Bush-Kerry presidential debate at the University of Miami. On a stage set up in Times Square, the cast of Avenue Q presented their version of the debate, called Avenue Q&A, with portrait puppets of both Bush and Kerry created by Rick Lyon. 18 television networks covered the event. Lyon operated the Bush puppet, while Jennifer Barnhart operated the Kerry puppet. Each puppet sang responses to questions from Avenue Q's concerned residents, and the whole cast actually sang Vote Your Heart to the rain-drenched crowd. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed our exploration of Avenue Q. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment so you never miss an episode. Remember, even though life can be a little bit of a schmuck, we can all find our purpose and happiness, just like the residents of Avenue Q. Until next time, keep on questioning everything and living life to the fullest. Who knows? You may one day find yourself on the famed Avenue Q, where sluts are equal opportunity suppliers and where therapy may be expensive, but puppets are always cheap.